Hello and welcome to Team PokeMart, your one-stop shop for things that you need to stop and or shop for. And in today's piece of advertising, cleverly disguised as mild entertainment, I am pleased to reveal that we have somehow managed to acquire an abundance of Clefairy eggs available to valued customers such as yourself. And just for legal reasons, I will state that these eggs have absolutely nothing to do with the abundance of Clefairy eggs that recently went missing from a local daycare on Route 5. I mean, the fact that we do have Clefairy eggs and the fact that they no longer have a very similar amount of Clefairy eggs are two completely unrelated events that just so happen to occur around the exact same time. Sometimes, dear customer, the truth is stranger than fiction, and 100% of the time, it's best not to ask questions of upper management, if you know what I mean. Clefairy and its evolutions are a pretty fantastic addition to any party, and I'll even give you the scoop on what makes these fairy types ever so unique. But before I get into things, as per usual, please do me a favor and click the big red button. And I know usually in life when there's a big red button, it means that you're not meant to press it for fear of something going apocalyptically wrong. However, when watching a Team PokeMart video, it is very much the opposite. And in fact, if you do not press the button, then the world will quite literally explode. And even worse than that, you also won't be kept up to date with all of our new stock here at Team PokeMart, which would indeed be the darkest timeline. But we're going to start off this line with Clefairy, who was actually introduced a generation later than both Clefairy and Clefable. Yes, Clefairy was first introduced in Generation 2, and originally it was a normal type Pokemon, but as of Generation 6, it is now a fairy type. Huzzah! And the same thing goes for its subsequent evolutions, both of whom were originally normal type until fairies came along and retconned the entire Pokeverse. But the first thing you will notice about Clefairy is its shape. If you were to play Who's That Pokemon, you would see that Clefairy is star-shaped, which makes sense since its title is literally Star-Shaped Pokemon. However, in silhouette form, this factor may lead to mistaking Clefairy for a Staryu, Jirachi, or even a particularly misshapen Pikachu. So Clefairy's body is small, and its face is oddly small even in comparison to its already critically mass of small. However, Clefairy also has a rather stylish curl of hair on top of its head, making it just about as fashionable as any baby can be. Certainly more fashionable than I was as a young lad anyway. Meanwhile, Pokedex entries add some intriguing information about this here Clefairy thing, stating that its star shape has led many people to believe that Clefairy came crashing to Earth on a meteor, which isn't all that strange given the fact that this whole line has strong links to the moon. And during a meteor shower, sightings of Clefairy seem to increase, which is all the proof I need to state with 100% certainty that Clefairy are aliens. So maybe they jump off and float down to Earth like skydivers. If not float, then maybe straight up impact the Earth like a meteor itself. I mean, if you were going to inspect an area of Earth where a meteor has hit, you are definitely going to find a Clefairy. Also in the Moon Pokedex entry, there's that word again, Moon. It is revealed that Clefairy of Alola seem to adore Minior, the meteor Pokemon, which is legit from space, so it all seems to line up ever so conveniently, or so my tinfoil hat is telling me, and that thing never lies. Furthermore, there is a strange ritual that Clefairy partake in on these nights when meteors illuminate the sky, and that's dancing in a ring. And they won't stop either. They do this for hours and hours from dusk till dawn, which to be fair is a ritual that we human things tend to engage in as well. Only instead of being inside, we head into a dimly lit enclosed space with loud music, a very sticky floor, and then we grind against each other until a mating partner for the night has been acquired. So if anything, our ritual is a bit stranger than the dancing Clefairy, in which case does that make us the aliens? But after plenty of dancing and meteor surfing, and most importantly, friendship, because it's a baby, Clefairy will evolve into the much more OG Clefairy. Clefairy is the fairy type Pokemon even when it was a normal type, interestingly enough. Being just as pink, Clefairy has a similar body to Clefairy, albeit a bit bulkier after hitting that moon gym, as well as a taller and less star-shaped physique. Clefairy's tail has grown bigger, and interestingly, it looks like it curls in a different direction to Clefairy, kind of like flushing toilets in two different hemispheres. Its hands and feet now have little white claws, however, its thumbs appear to be devoid of these claws for no adequately explained reason, not that I've come across anyway, although to be fair, it probably makes operating a smartphone that much more easier. Its blushing cheeks seem to have turned pink, only slightly darker than its body, and its eyes have lines on either side of them, which I'm not sure is meant to make Clefairy look tired from staying up all night dancing, perhaps old from just being old, or maybe even just to provide a bit more definition to its beady eyes. And something that I often forget is that Clefairy has the tiniest wings on its back, however I don't think they do too well flying long distance, or indeed any distance. Clefairy is kind of like a penguin in that regard, a moon penguin, but a penguin nonetheless. With a pastel palette and a cutesy aesthetic, it's no surprise that this Pokemon had many admirers when Red and Blue came out. Its yellow Pokedex entry even states that it is simply adored for its appearance and playful nature. As such, it is a popular choice amongst the more wealthy of our valued customers, being far more of a trophy Pokemon than a backstreet battler, belonging to some sort of commoner riffraff like you, Team PokeMart customer. As such, Clefairy tends to be quite the rare sight. However, if you are lucky enough to witness Clefairy playing and dancing one moonlit night, then count yourself fortunate. The Pokedex entry from Pokemon Sword states that happiness is coming your way in this situation, and if not, then much like me, you'll just have to continue your perpetually miserable existence. Due to the rarity of this Pokemon, it's mentioned that trainers who show off their caught Clefairy are susceptible to being targeted by thieves, and gasp. What a despicable practice. We here at Team PokeMart do not openly support breaking the law in any way, shape, or form. Just another casual disclaimer there. So for argument's sake, let's say that by this point you've got yourself a Clefairy. So what next, valued customer? Well, I'd suggest that you buy a Moonstone from us for the low price of lots, and then give it to the Clefairy in question. After which you will see it evolve into the final member of this Pokemon line, being Clefable. Standing at roughly 2 Clefairies high, this Pokemon is touted as the powerhouse of this line. Its height isn't the only thing that's gotten bigger either. And no, valued customer, I don't mean its genitals, although. But its tail, for example, is a far larger curl than before, and Clefable's ears have even gotten more pointy, kind of like a Pikachu really. They're even tipped with that dark brown at the top, which I do think is enough for Pikachu to technically sue for copyright infringement in Pokecourt. Even its wings have increased in size, now a dusty rose color and spread out into 3 points. Its skin color is lighter, and it's lost its little finger claw thingies, thus turning all of its fingers into thumbs, in theory, which I'm not too sure why this happens. Perhaps Clefable discovered the wonders of nail clippers, or maybe it's just a serial nail biter. But Clefable are also known to have one of the best hearing abilities in the Pokemon world, able to allegedly hear a pin drop up to half a mile away, and because of this it likes to live in quite remote mountains away from civilization, choosing not to eavesdrop in on the mundane lives of lowly humans. And I feel you there, Clefable. I think it's every retail worker's dream to just get off the grid and be away from the hustle and bustle of indentured slavery. Clefable appear to skip as they walk, the happy little puffs they are, making use of their wings in the process and floating ever so slightly. It even uses this skill to bounce along a water's surface, partaking in peaceful moonlit strolls across lakes quite frequently. And you know, if a couple was to witness 2 Clefable skipping together, it is said that the couple can look forward to a happy marriage. How cute. But similarly, if a couple were to witness a lone Clefable skipping, then that signifies that each of them are destined to be forever alone. But now that we know everything, or at least some things about these Pokemon, let's take a peek at their prominent appearances in the series. And probably their most well-known appearance occurs when our trio of children arrive at Mount Moon, where they stumble across a Clefairy being chased down by Team Rocket. And very long story short, eventually everyone gathers around a rock, they dance for quite some time, and through ritualistic sorcery, all of the Clefairy evolve into Clefable. And yeah, we also meet this guy, Seymour, a man who claims to be a scientist but is in fact a crackpot conspiracy theorist, and I'm 99.9% certain that he is actually physically attracted to the Clefairy line. He seems like one of those guys that would rule 34 Clefairy ever so hard. All he needs is a neckbeard, a fedora, and oh wow, that's terrifyingly perfect. Now, as for most trainers who dote on this Pokemon line, let's start with Goldenrod City's Whitney, who is most well known for her highly aggressive Miltank and not her Clefairy, despite it being part of her team in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. I suppose the rollout is just so devastating that it knocks the Clefairy right out of your brain. Clefairy is of course also present in the Heart Gold and Soul Silver remakes, but is seen as a Clefable in a rematch in those games. Ooh, how exciting! And on top of this, in the Pokeathlon, which features Whitney, she uses both a Clefairy and Clefable in the speed course of the Supreme course, which is redundant because why would you say the word course twice? Meanwhile, Lenora, who is the normal type expert of Nacrene City's gym in the Unova region, has a Clefable on her Unova Leaders tournament team in Black and White too. Lenora also claims to be a specialist in normal type Pokemon, which is, well, that's just great, but it's also very confusing, specializing in the only area that offers no specialties whatsoever. More recent appearances happen in the Alola region though, starting with the Aether Foundation leader Lusamine, who has a Clefable as one of her main Pokemon. It's always in her party in both Sun and Moon, as well as Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. As per usual though, the Clefable doesn't feature all that heavily in memory because Lusamine's key action would be fusing with an Ultra Beast, which had the effect of changing her from a blonde-haired MILF to a black-haired MILF with blonde streaks. Oh, and tentacles, my word, many tentacles. And according to a lot of the media I've consumed, whoa, this never ends well. Some more fun facts about the Clefairy line. Both Cleffa and Staryu share the the title of being the star-shaped Pokemon, with Staryu clearly being the most obvious star of the star shapes. And just in case you're asking yourself, where's Starmie? It also looks like a star. Well, it has the title of the mysterious Pokemon, which is not true. I know exactly what it is. It's just two Staryu stuck on top of one another and claiming to be something new. Clefairy was originally planned to become the mascot of the entire Pokemon franchise. That's right, Pikachu may not have been the face we see plastered across every shred of Pokemon-related media and merchandise. It could have instead been the adorable Clefairy. The decision to use Pikachu instead was due to it being used as Ash's partner in the anime, which was giving Pikachu far more familiarity with the fans and the brand as a whole. In fact, even in the pilot, Clefairy was supposed to be the Pokemon that Ash started with, which in turn would have made the anime much more close to the manga story, where Clefairy is Red's partner Pokemon. In National Dex order, Clefairy is technically the first Fairy-type Pokemon due to the switching of its typing, meaning that if Bulbasaur was ever retconned into a beautiful Bulbafairy, then it would become the first Fairy-type Pokemon listed instead. Moving on though, there is a particularly intriguing fan theory on Gengar being the shadow of Clefable, which I recommend you go down the rabbit hole and look up, as it is indeed quite convincing. Perhaps instead of stocking shelves one day, I'll even make a video about it and claim that I was doing work. Clefairy and Clefable share their title of the fairy Pokemon with Snubbull and Granbull, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really see the fairy theme in their design. Admittedly, I always thought they were grumpy, pinky bulldogs myself. Then again, fairy-type Pokemon are just weird like that sometimes. I mean, even Grimmsnarl is apparently a fairy, and look, I also don't see that. You are an elf, goblin, orc, thing, you're all of those, but certainly not a fairy. Do not try to fancy yourself up, Grimmsnarl. No one is buying your crap. And finally, a truly useless fact. The Pokédoll item is based off Clefairy's design, and that fact is useless because it's obvious. That's right, I've just wasted 10 seconds of your life telling you something that even the dullest of valued customers would know by sheer instinct alone. You're welcome. And there you have it, everything you ever needed to know about Clefairy, And there you have it, everything you ever needed to know about Clefairy, and the other one. I do wish this Pokemon had a bit more recognition from the world at large and not just by creepy, aroused scientists, but hey, the only recognition I need is the one on my card machine saying payment approved after you've purchased your Clefairy egg. But please do make sure to stop by Team PokeMart and say hi, which you can do in the comments below. And if you're interested in some of our other merchandise, then please do click these tantalizing links over here, and do not, I repeat, do not forget to subscribe to the channel for regular updates on our new stock. But for now, this has been Team PokeMart, and we'll see you next time.